Alright, so we're going to be working on putting on this new beads, the leg shield, and it's fairly difficult actually. What you'll notice that the new one has a lot tighter gaps than the old one. If you take a look at the old one, you'll see that this gap right here is actually a lot wider than the new one would be, and so is this gap right here. So you notice that the shape is just a little bit different than a new one. Here's a picture of a new one. Let's see if we can see it right here. What I want to show here is the two gap. The top gap shown here and the bottom gap shown in the white arrow are fairly small on a new bead, and it has to be opened up a little bit in order to fit properly. Notice how the original beading is flush with this, so we're going to start the other side, the installation, with putting the beading here and directly flush with this piece of body panel here. Right, we're going to start by placing the trim kind of in place. And the key being that you'll want to have this thing totally flush with the back side here. Alright, so this side is in, and we're going to work our way up this way, and you'll notice that it's not really laid in right here yet, but I think we'll slowly push the trim in together. So this first part is fairly easy, but I've tried this before, and what I notice is as you move up, it gets a little bit more difficult. So let's make sure that's flush, and then we're going to start moving up with the hairdryer. Another thing we want to touch on is you notice on this side that's factory installed, the groove of this groove is actually pointing fairly vertically up. Notice how it's fairly vertical. So we're going to be trying to do the same thing on the other side. We put this in, but notice it's not too straight. It's pointing that way a little bit. So, and as we put it in, we're going to be trying to manipulate it like this by forcing it vertical up like this. See that? And we're going to be using our hairdryer to facilitate it. So in the next video, what you'll see me do is using a hairdryer and my own hand pushing it, rotating it, and working it into the body of the Vespa. It's going to be a pretty slow process, but we're going to work it like that all the way up slowly with the hairdryer. What you notice here is I'll just leave the hairdryer there for a minute or two, and that actually helps softens it up. You can actually feel the manipulation will become a little bit easier as the plastic warms up. Actually, this portion of it is now becoming fairly fitted. So it's coming out pretty nicely. This part right here was particularly stubborn, so I kind of slowly work it from here, slowly up this way until it snaps into place. And once this part snapped into place, I kind of work back this way again and try to straighten it out a little bit more. Kind of slowly work your way, straighten it out, back this way, maybe a few times to have it all nice and neat before we start continuing up the rail. My next step is I'm going to use a hairdryer and heat this piece up right here, this length, this section up, about 5 minutes, let it soften up, and then we'll try to work this into place. Okay? Alright, we're going to let the hairdryer do its thing here, and in about a minute we're going to start working with it. Alright, so the hairdryer's been on there for about a minute, and you notice that, look how easy it is to snap it in now. Fairly easy, right? See how easy that was? And this portion hasn't been heated, so this upper portion here hasn't been heated, so we're going to slowly work our hairdryer up and down this length and snap it into place. This portion right here is difficult because on the Vespa body, the thickness of the body actually double in size right here because of this radiator. It has a piece of metal that makes it double in size and makes it harder for us to put anything in. You see this right here? See how it's thin and then becomes thick throughout this side right here. So it's going to be hard for us to put the bead in. And what I found was if you heat it up, which helps, and we want to press the leg trim into the body, press and then kind of force it in this way. So we're going to press in a little bit. See that? See how it snaps? Press, come in like that. And we'll kind of work that. We'll work it in like that. So in this section, we will continue to use heat. And what I notice is that if you bend the top of the piece forward towards the front of the bike, it helps line up the hole on the bottom section. So gently bend it forward and use that to your advantage to put it into place. Okay, notice now that I have this piece in place, or pretty much into place. So this corner was very difficult, but using the hairdryer and kind of slowly work it in. And remember how I say it seems to help if I turn the top this way. So we'll correct that later as we come up, but I did turn it this way to help facilitate this getting in. Okay, so we're putting the floorboard back on, and the trim is in. And what I noticed is there's some alignment issue where the hole, you see this hole right here, where the screw goes in, it's too far this way. So I'm guessing that the trim is pulling the floorboard too far this way. So what I'm planning to do now is to go ahead and remove the floorboard and then come back in and open up that gap right there, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so what I figured out is the gap here is much wider, and I have a wrench here that's for my bicycle, and it's the one thing that fits nicely into this gap, so I know now that this gap is about the size of this wrench. And you can do this at home too. You can find an object in your house that fits into this gap. You see, there's a little play, but it's not much, so it's just slightly bigger than the thickness of this wrench. And I think for things to fit properly, we'll have to do the same thing here. So this is this new trim doesn't have the correct gap. I can't stick it in all the way. So what I'll be doing now is using the hairdryer with this and trying to create a bigger gap between the opening of this opening and the trim itself. So we'll slowly work it all the way through here, and then hopefully the floorboard will fit in perfectly. So I went ahead and worked with this a little bit, and I can show you that. See how the spanner or the wrench fits in fairly. It's tight, but it fits in, and see I can drag it across now. Before I couldn't even do that. It wouldn't fit real well. So it's loosened up quite a bit, and we might work on it a little. A little bit more to get it loosened up a little bit more, and then we'll work our way up the side as well. So because I know this is going to be a problem for the glove compartment as well. The floorboard fits much better now after working the gap on the trim. Notice I already put one screw in, I've already put the center screw in, and everything looks so much better in terms of fit. Here's the finished product. Everything's back together, the glove box, the floorboard, battery cover. I didn't put the foot peg back because I don't really use it. I might put a sticker on there or something, but here's the new leg trim. Looks pretty good. Took forever to do. Here's the original. Here's the new one. If I had to do it over, I would use a hairdryer and something to create an even gap along here and increase this gap as well. So both of those before I even try installing it.